your Superman news video for the week January 24th to January 30th, 2014. In this week's Speeding Bulletin, Henry Cavill is already in Detroit, Michigan and says he'll be there for 10 months. James Tucker revealed the plans for future Warner Brothers animated movies. And Superman joins Infinite Crisis as a playable character. Let's find out more about these stories and other news items in this week's Speeding Bulletin. In movie news, Playboy.com published their lengthy interview with Ben Affleck online, in which they discuss his career both as an actor and as a director, and start the interview by asking him all about his upcoming role as Batman and the follow-up to Man of Steel. He said, "I don't want to give away too much, but the idea for the new Batman is to redefine him in a way that doesn't compete with the Bale and Chris Nolan Batman, but still exists within the Batman canon. It will be an older and wiser version, particularly as he relates to Henry Cavill's Superman character." When director Zack Snyder posed for a photo with Michigan State University faculty this week, it sparked speculation about whether or not Snyder was looking at the Ellie and Edith Broad Art Museum as a possible location shoot for the Superman Batman movie. Meanwhile, Deadline.com reports that even though the release date was pushed back 10 months, filming on the Superman Batman movie is still expected to start in February, as the main players have been summoned to start work right away. Henry Cavill pretty much confirmed this as he was spotted in Detroit, telling fans he could be there for up to 10 months filming. Entertainment Weekly caught up with costume designer Michael Wilkinson and asked him about his work designing the costumes for the upcoming movie. He said, "It's such a thrill to be working with our director Zack Snyder. He's creating such an exciting universe for this film. I think it's something we're all going to be really proud of." In an interview with the Superman homepage conducted during the world premiere of Justice League War on January 21st in New York City, producer James Tucker told us that Warner Brothers Animation plans to continue creating New 52-based animated movies interspersed with other non-continuity stories on a 2-to-1 ratio.
Well, this movie is relaunching the Justice League franchise in a continuity. So that's pretty much what the first storyline, Justice League Origins, did for the New 52. So we're adapting that story, and then from there on we'll be doing our own stories in continuity based off of that starting point. So that's why. The plan is to do 2 movies in continuity and then 1 movie that's an offshoot. So that doesn't keep us from going back and adapting some of those older stories.
I know, very true.
A couple of new clips from the Justice League War animated movie were released this week. One featured the introduction to Wonder Woman, while the other introduced Shazam. As fans of the Jeff Johns Justice League Origin comic book story will recall, it was Aquaman, not Shazam, who was part of the original Justice League team. However, the creators of the animated film decided to use Shazam instead of Aquaman for the animated adaptation of the story. The ending of the film may explain the reason behind this decision. In an interview clip about her role as Wonder Woman in Justice League War, Michelle Monaghan revealed that her favourite scene in the movie involves Superman.
I think my favourite scenes for the day are my scenes with Superman. And I think she sees him and he's, for the very first time, and he's lifting up a car in all of his mightiness. And she says, oh, by the gods. And she's very dramatic. But, you know, it's just a girl seeing a boy that she's really keen on, I guess. And, yeah, all my scenes with Superman.
Warner Brothers Animation has announced that the JLA Adventures Trapped in Time DVD, currently a Target exclusive release, will receive a wider release across all stores starting May 20. A new trailer for the first ever full-length theatrical Lego adventure, The Lego Movie, takes inspiration from Superman, using Hans Zimmer's score from Man of Steel.
This rebellion ends now. Can you feel me?
I can feel you.
What?
I don't think he's ever had an original thought.
I want to go home! This is not what I meant!
The only thing anyone needs to be special is to believe that you can be.
Great. I think I got it, but just in case, tell me the whole thing again. I wasn't listening.
You ruined it. Good job.
The Lego Movie. Only in cinemas.
While a new TV spot also sees Green Lantern trying to save Superman from a sticky situation.
Don't worry, Superman. I'll get you out of there. Don't! Oh my gosh, my hands are stuck. My legs are stuck as well.
I super hate you.
The Lego Movie opens in theatres February 7th. A special IMAX presentation of Man of Steel in Northern Nevada will be screened to benefit 2 local charities. On Sunday, February 9th, the public is invited to attend the 3 p.m. screening of Man of Steel in IMAX 3D at Galaxy Luxury and IMAX at Legends at Sparks. Tickets prices are $15, which includes free popcorn and a drink. Voices from Krypton posted a series of behind-the-scenes interviews with Jay Oliver about the 75th anniversary Superman animated short. As for things that were not included, he said, "When I was going over what they wanted, I thought they messed up because they didn't have Lois and Clark and that sort of thing. Originally I had it mapped out for 4 minutes because that's how long the John Williams theme is, but the budget wouldn't support it." Check out the entire interview at voicesfromkrypton.net. In TV news, Creature Features, located in Burbank, California, will host a signing event on Saturday, February 8th at 12 noon, allowing fans to come meet acclaimed composers Christopher Carter, Michael McCuistion and Alita Redmanis as they celebrate their new limited edition soundtrack releases from La La Land Records, Superman the Animated Series 4-CD set, and Batman the Brave and the Bold 2-CD set. Soundtracks will be available to purchase at the event. Visit creaturefeatures.com for more details. In comic book news, with the new DC Comics monthly series titled Secret Origins set to launch in April, Tony Bedard told Newsarama.com he will bring us an origin story involving Supergirl. He said, "Since coming on the Supergirl series, I've been very keen to make Kara more proactive and more positive. Working on this origin story has helped me realise how we can get her there." Superman comic books we reviewed this week included Adventures of Superman Chapter 39, which was reviewed by Alyssa Gossage, who said, "Is the ending corny? Yes, and I love it." And she gave this chapter a 4 out of 5. James Lance reviewed Supergirl number 27, giving it a 5 out of 5 score, calling it a fast-paced thrill ride. Justice League number 27 was reviewed by Michael J. Petty, who said, "This issue was just what we needed," and he gave it a 5 out of 5 score. T.A. Hewitt reviewed Injustice Year 2, Chapter 2, saying, "It's very hard to swallow the story that Taylor sets before his audience in this installment," and he gave it a 2 out of 5. Smallville Harbinger Chapter 4 was reviewed by Matt Shaw, who gave it a 2 out of 5, saying, "So much of this was just so abbreviated." Superman comics available this week from January 29th include Adventures of Superman Chapter 40 digital comic has been available since January 27th. Adventures of Superman number 9 print edition. Smallville Season 11 Special number 4 print edition. Superman number 27, which is available in a variant cover. Teen Titans number 27, which is also available in a variant cover. All-Star Western number 27 features Superman. Earth 2 Annual number 2. World's Finest Annual number 1. And Smallville Alien Chapter 7 digital comic will be available January 31st. There's around 2 weeks before Valentine's Day, so now is the time to get in and purchase the love of your life that special Superman, Supergirl or Justice League Valentine's Day gift. Check out these Paper Magic Deluxe Lenticular 3D Valentine cards, yours for just $5.99. Or how about the Paper Magic Superman Deluxe Valentine Exchange cards with bonus stickers on sale for $16.99. These and other great Superman Valentine's Day gifts are available from your one-stop Superman shop, the Superman homepage online store at supermanhomepage.com/shop. Now the news, last week Turbine announced that Superman is now a playable character in the DC Universe Infinite Crisis multiplayer online battle arena. This week in a new video we meet Troy Baker, the man behind the voice and spirit of Superman in DC Entertainment's exciting new online game.
Hey, I'm Troy Baker and I get to play Superman in Infinite Crisis.
This looks like a job for Superman.
I feel that Superman is a really interesting character because on the surface he's flawless. And I think that we as humans naturally search for a flaw. And I think that's one of the disconnections that he has. We have to remember he's an alien.
Earth is my home. I go where I'm needed.
Visit infinitecrisis.com to join the fight for the multiverse. Some of the most sought after collectibles out there amongst Superman fans and Wonder Woman fans are the old vintage figural telephones. Jamie Regal has written a very interesting historical essay on the background behind these telephones that fans will want to check out. Visit our website to read the true history of the highly sought after telephones. Episode 109 of Radio KAL, the monthly podcast of the Superman homepage, is now available to listen to. In this episode, Scotty and I discuss the Superman-Batman movie being pushed back to 2016, filming in Michigan, Justice League movie rumours, Gal Gadot's 3-picture deal, possible Superman-Batman movie plot details, JLA Adventures Trapped in Time DVD, the world premiere of Justice League War, Lex Luthor joining the Justice League, all the latest Superman comics, and much more. Check it out at supermanhomepage.com/radio. And a quick reminder about our fortnightly caption contest at the website. You're looking at this week's image, which we're challenging you to come up with a caption for. Head to the site now and look for the January 24th caption contest news item to get involved. And that's all the Superman news there was for the week January 24th to January 30th. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm Steve Younis from supermanhomepage.com.
Great Scott. Great Scott. Great Scott.
Hello everyone and welcome to another fabulous episode of Great Scott. I'm Scotty V. Good to see you. Thanks for watching. So last week I brought to you my 5 reasons why I was concerned that the production of Man of Steel 2 / Man of Steel vs. Batman / Batman vs. Superman / Trinity / prequel to the JLA might have been in trouble. And this week I'm going to bring to you 5 reasons why it might not be. That's right, I'm equal opportunity. I can see both sides of the aisle. I know what's happening, and I know the possibilities out there in Hollywood that can shake things up, make you worry, make you concerned. I've received a few emails from people agreeing with me. I've received a few saying they don't agree with me. I've heard some comments about people telling me to stop jumping out of my skin. There are Hollywood delays all the time, and that's A of my list, even though it's not on my top 5. There are Hollywood delays all the time. Weather, there are things that stall in production and all kinds of other things. The script does morph and change and different things happen where they may not have been expected. And this is normal in Hollywood. A lot of movies do end up getting canceled or getting delayed indefinitely or getting shelved because they end up spending too much money in pre-production. This happened with a lot of the Superman projects that were supposed to occur in the 90s. So much money was spent, and we still don't really know, although I don't think there's any truth to the rumor, that a lot of the budget for Superman Returns went to paying for other Superman projects that did not happen and really had nothing to do with Superman Returns. But let's get on to my list. Number 1 reason why our production being delayed might not really be a problem, and it really wasn't the delay that I was talking about. It was a series of events that happened, the 5 events that I listed, ending with the delay for 10 months, which was necessary if they were going to delay at all because they couldn't come out at any other time. My list was really about the reasons, including the delay, why I have some concerns that there might be more issues than what we know about, or we might get surprised by some negative things we're not happy about down the line. And I still feel that's a possibility, but I also feel like there's just as much a possibility that this is expected, this is a big movie, and that there could be some normal delays moving forward. My number 1 reason is that the actors are out of shape. If you look at the behind-the-scenes footage on the Man of Steel Blu-ray or DVD or whatever it is you have, you'll notice that all of the actors who were combatants in the film, Superman, Zod, Feora, were all required to have a heavy workout regimen. When Cavill came in, he was nowhere near the big, bulky Superman that we saw in the film. He was much more slimmed down. He was always in shape, and he was in Immortals not too long before that, But even he mentions on the behind-the-scenes stuff that it was very hard and that he hated Jim Jones after just a couple of hours of working in the gym, but that he wanted to hate Jim Jones, and Jim Jones wanted the actors to hate him because that meant that he knew he was doing his job. Henry Cavill went through weeks and weeks of training, and I still contend, and it's not really covered in behind-the-scenes footage, that there are scenes in the film, some of the early ones that did film first, where Henry looks much younger and much thinner. And the reason he looks younger, even though he is technically a few weeks younger, but the reason he's younger is because he looks younger, is because he hasn't worked out to the point where we see him later in the film where he's Superman. He's wearing the suit, and we see him with his shirt off, and he's ripped on the oil rig. Some of the earlier scenes, which is good because he was actually meant to be younger story-wise in some of those scenes. My belief is that in the truck where everyone's bent out of shape, that Jonathan Kent allows himself to be killed, and what I keep saying is Jonathan Kent made that decision, and that's what he wanted in the last moments of his life. So yes, while Clark may have been able to super speed over there, although we hadn't seen him super speed yet, and he was supposed to be about 18 or so, maybe he doesn't know what the full extent of his powers are, but the scene where it happened, he was honoring his father's last wish. He believed there was some wisdom in staying with the people who were under the overpass. We all know that weather services will tell you being under an overpass is not the safest place to be in a hurricane or in a storm or in a tornado, as in this case. So knowing that he needed to stay there to protect his mother and the other people, and that his identity being revealed, the idea that he had these superpowers being revealed, would be much better served if that overpass collapsed and he had to catch it to save all those people than it would be to save one man who was out trying to save the family dog, even though it was Clark's father. But I digress. I'm off the point. The point is that I'm trying to make is that he looked much younger there because he hadn't yet done the extreme workout regimen for a long enough time for us to see a difference. And when he did that, we really did see a difference. And when you watch those behind-the-scenes features, it was a hard workout. You watch Michael Shannon working out, it's a hard workout. Even though he's a lot thinner than Henry Cavill is in the movie, he's not as bulky because he wears armor a lot of the time. When he sheds that armor and he flies up in his black suit, you can see he's much more slender than Henry Cavill, but he's still, you can tell he has form and he has definition. And Feora had an almost equally hard, equally difficult workout, and she had mentioned that she never really did that kind of thing before she was in shape. She probably did some yoga and things of that nature to keep herself in shape, but she never did heavy muscle workouts. And you could tell in her line and her figure and the way she moved in the movie that it worked and that it helped and that it was necessary. Now we're talking about a movie where Wonder Woman's going to be involved, and the Wonder Woman that they cast, Gal Gadot, is a kind of an unknown model. She was in Fast and Furious 6. She's done some fashion modeling. She's not a supermodel, but she's very, very beautiful, and she's very slender. A lot of people are complaining that Wonder Woman needs to be an Amazon, needs to be buff, needs to be intimidating, needs to be muscular, and saying that she's bad casting because she's none of those things. But if you go back and you look at Henry Cavill, he was in shape, he was fit, but he wasn't bulky, he wasn't super manly until the workout, and that's the same thing that needs to happen with Wonder Woman, maybe to a greater extent, maybe for a longer period of time. And we don't know to what extent we're going to see Wonder Woman in the film. She could just be Diana. She could wear a Wonder Woman costume of some kind. We could see her arms or her shoulders. We might not. She could be in suits. If one of the rumors that came out about the movie that supposedly leaked, which we're starting to believe probably, or we believe from the beginning, aren't necessarily true, but just kind of flaky rumors that anybody could make up, is that she's going to pose as a Wayne Company employee in order to go in and find some sort of artifact that was stolen from her people, in which case she'd probably be wearing skirt suits or pantsuits or something along those lines, and we wouldn't see her in that, at least at that time. But there could be a time where she needs to be, spins around and becomes Wonder Woman, and we know, of course, that she's going to do that, and she'll also be tackling regular men who are burglars. But moving forward, we know that the number one reason why, and these are in no particular order, that there's a good chance the delay makes sense, is that these actors need to get into shape. And we've seen some pictures of Henry Cavill on vacation after the filming of the movie and that kind of thing. He's still fit, but he did lose a lot of that muscle, and that would happen if you stop doing that regimen, which based on everything they said, no one's going to continue doing it because it sucks. And he's fallen out of that shape because it wasn't necessary at the time. So one of the reasons I say it's another reason that it's a good idea to film 2 movies back to back or 3 movies back to back, because it kind of gives the actors a break. They have to do what they have to do, but at the same time, they don't need to worry about 2 years from now starting filming and saying, now I'm out of shape again and I got to start this whole hell all over again. So my contention is that the actors need a lot of time in order to get into shape. Number 2 reason I believe it's possible that this delay is not only expected, not only normal, but reasonable, is that time and real estate has already been booked out in Michigan. And we see that based on a lot of announcements that are coming out every day, they're still planning on filming there. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is, last week I was kind of all doom and gloom. I was negative about it because I was concerned, and I still have some concerns. I have concerns from the beginning when Batman was announced, and I will continue to have those concerns. But this list is meant to kind of contrast the list I made last week. And being that there is time and real estate booked out in Michigan, and that they're planning on spending $135 million of the budget in Michigan, and now Henry Cavill has come out and said that they're going to be there for a long period of time, my thinking is, no one has announced it's been canceled out there. They're still filming, which means they're still using some version of the script that they know they need these scenes out in Michigan for. And it's supposed to start sometime in the spring, which is only a few months from now. But just that few months, if it was delayed because of weather, and if you haven't heard, those of you in the rest of the world, on the East Coast here and in the States in general, you know, it's been a huge cold snap very, very lately. There hasn't been a whole lot of snow necessarily, although a lot of places did get some, but it's been very cold, bitter cold. It's been negative degrees, and it's been negative 20 to 30 degrees with the wind chill in a lot of cases. So this cold snap, it's the coldest it's been in years, it's record-breaking cold temperatures, could also have extended the period. If they were supposed to start in February, they're supposed to start a little earlier. Now they're starting in spring because they need to wait until it warms up. Possibly, that's an idea that we've thought about. That is you know, just speculation again. But the idea that it's not necessarily negative, but necessitated by nature, that they had to delay because they just can't film out there when it's that cold, or they don't want to. They would prefer to wait. The third reason, you know, and then the idea in that second reason that they have this time in real estate and they're still doing it, they wouldn't spend more money, and they've already spent whatever they've spent to rent these areas, to build these sets in these areas of Michigan that they're just going to tear down when they're done. You know, Michigan officials who are involved are saying, yeah, they built it. It was built up in a few weeks, and they're going to film for however long they film, and then they're just going to tear it down, and it's going to look like as if they were never there, which of course is what the nature people want and what the people who live there want. But the idea that it's bringing jobs and bringing economy to that area in the meantime is great, and they love that. It's exciting to be part of a big Hollywood movie. But the fact that they've already started building these sets, and in some cases completed these sets, and they are still planning on filming there, bodes well to the idea that it's not necessarily a shakeup that's happening that's causing issues. The third reason that I think there might not necessarily be a problem is related to that, and then I mentioned it already, is that Cavill has recently come out and supposedly said to someone in Michigan, some of his fans, that they plan on being there for up to 10 months filming in Michigan, which could indicate that the film is very, very complicated, and that $135 million that's being spent there and the sets that are being built and the areas that are being used are such a huge part of the film, and that so much is going on there, and that there's so much, hopefully, story and character and depth, and not all Batman. Because a lot of the complaints about Man of Steel were that we didn't really see a lot of his character. We didn't really see a lot of depth, a lot of growth, a lot of... I disagree, but we could always use more emotion, depth, character, story around the action, with some action there. One of the big things with Man of Steel 2 was that it was just... not Man of Steel 2, but Man of Steel also was that a lot of people just felt like it was action after action after action set piece, and not a lot of development, which we could always, again, use more of, and we do want to have action, and that was one of the complaints of Superman Returns. There wasn't enough action, so it's hard to, you know, find a place where you meet in the middle and everybody is happy. It's never going to happen, but you could please more people maybe if you possibly add some more development. And the idea that they might be there for 10 months in Michigan, rumor it may be, helps to allay the fears that there could be problems, and that's why there's a delay. Because based on some of the things I was saying last week, everyone's over there throwing pages up in the air, walking out on the productions. I quit. You brought a scriptwriter in. That's not me. I'm out of here. Which is completely speculation and did not happen, but could be happening. But in this case, in the scenario I'm presenting now, it's completely normal. They're going to need. They realize, you know, as the script develops, they extend some things. They examine things more than they thought maybe they would, and they need more time. And they go, we need more time here, which means we're going to need more time on the end of the to release the movie. And we're in July already. We can't release in September, which would mean our next big point is December. And in December, there's 2 big movies coming out already. And let's move it to the first weekend of the summer. The fourth reason I think that the movie itself might not be changing to a point where it's unrecognizable from Man of Steel and where we, as fans of Superman, feel slighted is that Ben Affleck was scheduled to direct a movie called Live by Night, which is already scheduled to release on December 25th of 2015. And it's a Warner Brothers movie, and they need to get him into the chair and get him directing fairly quickly. The plan was for them to finish filming Man of Steel 2 or Man of Steel Batman, whatever it is, and that he would then direct after that. But with a little less than 6 months after the release date of the second Man of Steel movie, Ben Affleck's movie was supposed to be in, and he has to direct, and there's a lot more to that. In addition to the acting he was going to have to do with Man of Steel 2, it's very possible that part of the reason for the delay is that they realize, you know, when studios book these weekends and when they get under time constraints, they expect a product and they need to have it for the date that's been announced. Now, clearly that's not always the case because they moved Man of Steel 2 off of July 2015 weekend and have now moved it to May of 2016. So there are movements, but I know that when they move a date and when they move production and when things have already started and things get screwed up, they do lose a lot of money. Same reason why I think they're still going to film in Michigan, no matter what's going on with the script. And that it could very likely mean that there isn't anything terribly different going on with the script than what goes on anytime you have a big Hollywood blockbuster movie where there are going to be changes on the fly and things developing as you go. To delay this movie and to get it out of 2015 could mean that Warner Brothers frees up Ben Affleck to get to the directing chair a little more quickly. This may annoy some people, but it may also help you feel a little better that it's not this movie itself that is necessarily changing or becoming a negative experience, but just that they realize they've squeezed too many things in, they've squeezed too many of their stars that need to be elsewhere, and so that could have something to do with why the movie moved. And the fifth reason that I have for you is that WB likely wanted to steal May 6th from Marvel. Marvel has announced that there will be an unnamed big Marvel movie that will come out on May 6th of 2016. And, you know, for the last few years, Marvel has kind of stolen the first big weekend of summer, and they've always had the big hit. DC, Warner Brothers may have decided, listen, let's take that away from Marvel. They can still bring out their movie if they want, but let them know that we're going to be there. It's definite. It's our weekend. And now the movie that you release will most certainly lose some of its business based on the fact that we have a movie there too. We may very well lose some of our business that weekend if you still open your movie that weekend. But now let's see if Marvel can be the ones to move. Let's see if we can scare the other studio. Let's see if we can take some of the control back of the superhero movie business by opening on May 6, 2016, when Marvel's already said that they plan on opening a movie there. Let's see how they react. Let's see what happens. And if we both open that weekend, then so be it. Bring it on, bro. Come at me. And let's see how popular both movies can be. It's not going to be Avengers 3. We already know that because Avengers 2 is coming before that, and it won't be soon enough to get a movie like that out. So I don't really believe that they have a big giant property, so it's going to be a lesser known thing, like with Guardians of the Universe or something, where they're hoping it's big, they're hoping it goes over. I mean, at some point, the superhero movie industry is going to bottom out, and people are going to kind of get fed up with seeing these movies, I imagine. Especially when you're getting to the lower tiered movies like Ant-Man, even though I'm excited about Ant-Man. Ant-Man! I'm excited. But what are they going to have that could be a contender? with a Superman movie that also has Batman and Wonder Woman in it, that's a big action movie, but also has a lot of drama and story, which is what we're all hoping for. I don't know. But I think the WB maybe wanted to say, listen, we're not just going to stand back and let you take every good weekend. We're going to move on to the weekend you said was your weekend. Screw you, Marvel. It's not your weekend. It's our weekend. And if you want it to be your weekend too, then come on in. The water's fine. But let's see what happens after that. And let's see who really, wins at the end of the Duke out. You're not bringing your big Avengers that weekend. You're going to bring something secondary. And we've got Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman as well. We've got a big movie that people have been waiting for, that people are clamoring for, a sequel to, a successful movie that even if I said last week the studio might have been disappointed in the returns or might have been disappointed in the critiques, they've got to be happy with the success of the movie around the world to whatever extent that is, and to whatever extent they expect the sequel will double or triple that. Dark Knight Returns with Heath Ledger, sure. The whole Heath Ledger thing built up more audience, built up more box office dollars. But if you look at it, Batman Begins, barely a success. Dark Knight Returns, huge, massive, or The Dark Knight, not Dark Knight Returns. With Heath Ledger, $1 billion or whatever, up from $300 million. Man of Steel, $600 million. If we can do the same kind of business that Dark Knight did, maybe we get, $2 billion. Maybe we get $1.3 billion. And that's what they're looking for. So whatever they can do to maybe do that, and maybe they can move a big Marvel movie out, I think they'll be clapping in the offices if they do that. And maybe a little disappointed if they don't do that. If Marvel says, well, we're going to come anyway and take some of your business. I've never really understood why 2 movies can't be out, because if there's a good Marvel, if there's a Marvel, so I'm going to see Ant-Man. So if there's a good Marvel superhero movie that comes out that weekend, I'm going to see both that and Man of Steel too. So they're not going to lose the business forever, but they might not get it that weekend. And studios want to win the weekend. They want to win the next weekend. And I've said on other episodes, I don't understand why it seems like Marvel has 2 weeks before and 2 weeks after where there's nothing left, and Marvel movie comes out, there's no big thing. And then they have 2 weeks straight where they can be #1 because there's no other big movie. And every time it seems like the DC movies don't have that. When Man of Steel came out, there were 2 movies the very next week, Monsters University and World War Z, that banged it out of the top spot and down to 3, I believe. Or maybe it was still 2, but World War Z was a close third, and therefore took a lot of the business away, a lot of the repeat business, where some of those same people went to see those movies. And they're geeky movies. Even if Monsters Inc. or Monsters University is a cartoon, a lot of people might want to take their kids to see a superhero movie, and if they did that the week before, or maybe would have done it again, or maybe didn't get around to it the first week, now it's Monsters University, and that's much more of a priority. And so there you have it. The film business is a lot more complicated than we all know. And there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of movements that have to be made. There's a lot of different decisions that change things up sometimes, and it may not be, it's a negative in that we still have to wait another 10 months, but it may be positive in that they're going to spend more time on the movie and really get it right. The announcement was that it will give the filmmakers more time to fully realize their vision, and Zack Snyder is a very visionary filmmaker, but at the same, I don't mean visionary in terms of being a genius, which he may be, but I mean the idea that visually he likes everything to really spark and really look great, and it's a lot of effects, and we know that there was a delay to the original Man of Steel because of the post effects, and we know that they need like a year after all the filming is done to add in all the effects and do everything like that. So there's a lot of reasons why the 5 reasons I gave last week may not necessarily be something we need to worry about, and may not be something that's going on. So there you have it, my 5 reasons why it's not necessarily a big deal that the 5 reasons I mentioned last week do seem to pile up and make it look very negative. Thanks everybody for watching, and remember, always look up in the sky.